Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar for the SEP Junior Software Engineering Program Junior application for the 2017-2018 school year cohort 2. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Just give a little chance for more people to sign in. So we have a few viewers so far. You will notice that there's a little chat or Google group chat on the right side of the screen that you can post your questions to. If you'd like to, while we're waiting for some viewers, go ahead and just introduce yourself so I know that who's viewing this broadcast. Okay, so we're going to get started now. Just let you know that this webinar is recorded, so if you need to revisit it another time, you can go back and watch a streaming of it. So, okay. So we're going to start off with just going over what today's agenda will be for the webinar. First, we're going to start off by just talking about SEP Junior and how it fits into New York City's Department of Education CS for All initiative. And then from there, we're going to look a little bit at the SEP Junior curriculum and resources, and then what the SEP Junior program requirements are for schools that are applying and schools that will participate in the cohort, and then some application tips, and then finally some Q&A. Okay, so why computer science education? First of all, the idea that it's a social imperative. Computer science is not just about technology, it's also about logic, problem solving, and creativity. And so through that, through computer science, you can teach your students more than just programming. For elementary school, something that's very important is an early exposure to computer science. It's very critical related to addressing equity in the tech education and in the tech industry, but it also helps to drive students' interests further on down the line. So the earlier they're exposed to it, the more that they know that they can participate in it, and those that have strong interest in it can look for it when they get to middle school and high school. And computers and softwares are changing everything, but the majority of schools don't teach computer science. So part of the CS for All initiative is to try to get computer science available to all schools, and make it, and that includes elementary schools. There's an economic imperative. The Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that there'll be over 1 million open computing jobs in the US by 2024, and are going to struggle to fill those jobs positions. And now, even though um, early elementary, upper elementary might not necessarily be thinking specifically about computer science as a possible career, it does start to give them that background. So even if they don't get into computer science, they have a skill set that they can use later on once they choose to, um, decide what career they want to go into. Also, 71% of all new jobs in STEM are actually in computing, but only 8% of the STEM graduates are in computer science. So there's a really big gap there between those students graduating with a computer science degree and the jobs that are available. Also, it's really important to remember that computer science is relevant to all careers. 67% of software jobs are actually outside of the tech industry. So that means that, um, you know, in medical fields, in entertainment, in, any type of job, having some kind of computer science background makes it that much more, the student much more viable for a particular position. So what is the goals for SEPjr? So in September 2015, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced the Computer Science for All initiative, and it would be to provide computer science education to every public school student over the next 10 years. So SEPjr is to increase the number of elementary school students, particularly from traditionally underrepresented groups, who learn computer science, to help develop students' computational thinking and problem solving skills in real world context. And I think that's very important, and something that's very valuable about computer science education is that real world experience for students. And it's also to develop best practices for content and implementation of a year-long computer science education program. So even though the Computer Science for All initiative focuses on teaching meaningful units of study, we're looking at in SEPjr for a year-long curriculum. So those schools that wish to really dive deep into teaching computer science and making it part of their full year-long calendar have the resources available and the content that they need. So let's take a look at the curriculum and the resources. The curriculum, it's a series of units designed around current elementary school computer science programs and additional new content. So that being, there's a lot of resources out there for elementary school computer science, and some of them are built out curriculum, some of them are activities, and some of them are just products. So what we're trying to look at is to take all those different resources out there and make it a consistent year-long implementation of computer science. So the units include code.org's CS Fundamentals, which used to be the K-5 curriculum, a unit around robots, not necessarily robotics, i.e. building robots, but implementing programming and coding using robots. This year, with the cohort 1, we use the dash and dot robots. So see how well students can transfer a skill set from web-based application to something that's more tangible. And then we're currently, after the midwinter break, our cohort 1 teachers will be starting the project-based learning unit. And so this takes Scratch Junior and Scratch to create a story around some kind of text or subject area that the teacher chooses. And that's the idea of, like, identifying computer programming and the tools in computer programming as something that can be used to create student work and student projects. And then the final one is physical computing. And so this starts to integrate some of the hardware and other engineering aspects of computer science. We'll be using the Makey Makey this year, um, and probably Scratch again. So it's currently designed around 2 tracks, a K to 2 track and a 3 to 5 track. So, when we look at the robots unit, we use a robot mouse, which just has simple button on the top to program it, where Dash and Dot uses actually like a Blockly based app. Um, and so that Blockly base was, generally used by upper elementary, some second grade classes, but kindergarten and first grade were encouraged to start with the mouse robot, because the students can break down very specific algorithms and skill sets. Um, but eventually, we're looking at having an outline for each grade, and that's something that we're working towards, because the goal is that if all schools are teaching computer science, that we want the experience of the students to be different from kindergarten to first to second to third to fourth to fifth. But right now, we're focused on those 2 specific tracks, and hopefully for cohort 2, at least 3 tracks. And then something that's very valuable and something that came out of the project-based learning professional development we recently have is the integration of other content areas. So how can teachers identify cross-curricular activities between, language arts, math, science, social studies, and how can they utilize the skill sets that the students are learning around computer science in those particular subject areas, and vice versa. A perfect example is that a coding journal is part of the curriculum, and that's where students kind of think out or write out their ideas around designing a program, and kind of you know expressing their creative and problem solving ability prior to actually getting to the program. Um, for teachers, instructional support, the high quality computer science curriculum includes teacher directed lessons, but also open-ended creative computing activities for students, an alignment with the Computer Science Teacher Association and the ISTE standards, as well as starting to integrate the computer science framework. And then again, also identifying not just the content areas, but also standards associated with each one of those content areas. We also provide professional development for all teachers. These professional developments are on Saturdays, so per session is provided. The first for cohort 2, the first mandatory Saturday session will be June 17th. And this is prior to the big kickoff, which is over the summer, and June is an opportunity for an introduction and get teachers on the same page and introduce the computer science for all team that'll be working with them throughout the school year and providing them support, and so they can identify what resources they will have available to them. And for those teachers that are really excited, want to get started early, and also something we found is that even though we have 11 different schools across 5 different boroughs, the teachers, it's really a great opportunity for the teachers to just see that there's other people there that might be feeling the same way, either, really eager and super excited. Some teachers were very nervous because they had never taught computer science before, and just kind of address some of those feelings ahead of time. And so that way in August, from August 14th to the 18th, 5 days, that's our summer institute, and that's where we really break down key components of computer science in elementary school and ways of teaching computer science and integrating it into the classroom and the school and the culture in the school. And then throughout the school year, following the Summer Institute, we have 9 mandatory monthly Saturday sessions. So one Saturday every month, teachers will get together and we'll look at, either something very specific to the curriculum, i.e. like how to teach the code.org CS fundamentals unit, or focusing on implementation or strategies for teaching computer science, like how to run a computer science station or center in the classroom. Here's just some pictures from cohort 1 from the Summer Institute. This year we had 71 teachers, like I said, from 11 schools throughout the 5 boroughs. Um, and, we had the full range that some teachers have no experience whatsoever teaching computer science, no background in computer science, to teachers that have already started on their own, either through, teaching a club or a course around Scratch, for example, or using Tinker or even trying Code.org prior to participating. But you'll see that everyone is very supportive and, was really engaged with the content and excited about bringing it to their schools. Um, just if you're not familiar with the Dash and Dot robot, this is Dash, one of the robots that we use to program, uh, you know, for the robot unit and learning programming, and like, kids getting actually able to like program something physical and see it in action. Kids really enjoy it. So do teachers. And then um, something that's very important about the content is that even though typically it's thought that computer science is device related, and we do use web-based and hardware, that computer science, especially in elementary school, focuses a lot on unplugged activities. It's part of the equity of it so that students, across the board can understand and practice those computer science or computational skill sets. Um, and it's something that students can relate back to when actually going into a device or a website or something and programming it, that they can relate back like, oh, okay, I remember doing that, following directions to get around a map. That's what I'm trying to do in my algorithm, is set these uh, directions for, the sprite or the character to move around the screen. And it also gets, elementary school gets kids up and moving, and it often offers a lot of opportunity for the teacher to differentiate, and kind of modify the lessons to start bringing in student interest and student strengths. This is the mouse robot. Just really like this picture because this team was really engaged with programming the mouse through the maze. And then you have the students, and again, talking about a particular unplugged activity. These students were using the conditionals with card game to learn about conditionals. And this is a second or third grade class that's actually learning about conditionals, and it was wonderful to hear them talk and use the appropriate vocabulary and just really engage with the concept. And you'll see they're not using a computer, they're using dry erase markers and deck of cards. But again, even the online activities, teachers have developed some really great printable materials so that students can relate back, and start assessing how much the students are taking in. Are they just solving the problems, or are they actually understanding the practices that they're learning? We do provide material support for our schools. So cohort 2 district schools receive physical materials to support the implementation of the program, including but not limited to books, guides, printed materials, the programmable robots, physical computing hardware like Mickey. We also have CS board games, Robot Turtles, and Code Monkey Island, which are really just great ways for kids to explore computational or computer science practices, in a center or like during choice time. Kids really enjoy those games. Please do note that charter schools can only receive non-financial resources if selected for the pilot. So just to take a break about the materials and the curriculum, somebody had just asked on the live chat, do we get Dash and Dot equipment as part of the program? It's not specific to Dash and Dot right now because the robots unit is built around the idea of learning to program robots. We have a really great working relationship with the company that produces Dash and Dot, and the teachers really were excited to use them, and we get a lot of great feedback from those teachers. So if we go with Dash and Dot, then yes, programmable, whatever programmable robots that we do choose to use in the curriculum will be provided, or classroom sets will be provided for the school. Again, if anyone does have any questions, just go ahead and enter them into the live chat on the right side of the screen, and I'll try to take a break in between sections or at the end just to address those questions. So, program requirements. The program requirement is to offer the curriculum, so provide computer science instruction to students in both the K2 band and the 3-5 band, meaning we're looking to make sure that computer science is taught in at least each of those bands. Practice approaches that increase inclusiveness in computer science and help dispel gender and ethnic stereotypes. Equity is a very important part of computer science, and a very important part of the CS for All initiative is that we want to make sure that all students have the same opportunity to learn computer science and to participate in these activities. And then also to plan to ensure school-wide adoption of CS education. What we're going through right now with cohort 1 is figuring out what the plan is, because so many of our schools are excited about it, and those teachers in the schools that might not be participating directly with SEPjr are excited about it, and they're signing up for our CS Fundamentals one-day session because they see how engaging it is for the students and how much it benefits the school as a whole. So, how to staff the program. Those schools that are applying, we want each school to provide at least 3 licensed teachers representing both grade bands. So at least 1 teacher in the K-2 and 1 teacher in the 3-5 to attend the professional development. And typically the 3rd teacher is either a computer lab teacher. We have some art teachers, academic intervention teachers, but we do require that the teachers all work with K2, 3-5, and are working with students. So school-based coaches, though they can support, they can't really be part of the program because they're not doing instruction with students. We're looking for teachers that have direct instruction with the students. And then also to dedicate an administrator who will serve as a SEPjr point of contact and will provide direct oversight and monitoring. This is very important to have administrator buy-in and participation. We've got some wonderful APs and principals who actively reach out to us, and when we do school visits, they meet with us, and we have some assistant principals participate in some of the Saturday sessions so they know what's going on within the SEPjr classrooms and how they can better support them. And this is also very important for scheduling a particular time for school-based teams to meet, or providing the individual teachers time within their academic schedule to teach computer science, as well as moving forward after their participation in the program, how to implement this in a school-wide program. Excuse me. So some application tips. So the application aim is to collect information about your school so we know how to effectively support you, your teachers, and the students, and also encourage you to begin thinking about and planning how your school will implement the SEPjr curriculum. Excuse me, for the 2017-2018 school year. Oh, excuse me. So, what are we looking for? We're looking for thoughtful answers to the application questions. And when we mean thoughtful answers, we really want you to look at the question, answer the questions that in the way that best describes your school, your students, your expectations, why it is that you're looking to apply to this particular program. We're also looking for a strong teacher team. We're looking for several schools who provide a lead teacher for each grade, K to 5 plus a tech teacher where available. So some of our schools, we have anywhere from 4 to 7 teachers on a teacher team. The teachers that do provide that have a teacher per grade level tend to be a little bit, you know, stronger and better to engage all students because they can see how each of the different lessons and units work amongst like kindergarten versus second versus fourth versus fifth. But it's not to say that you have to have that. The minimum requirement is at least 3 teachers, but the more teachers per school that are available, the stronger their team can be in its implementation, especially when moving forward after the pilot year. And again, like I said before, a dedicated administrator who will ensure implementation. Can't stress that enough, especially just, some of it might be logistical communication around when materials are being delivered. And then, some of it might also be just to check in and provide, the more the teachers know and the administrators know about what the program's about, the better they are to give feedback to the teachers while they're implementing the content. So before I get on the application timeline, there's a question here. Will there be class visits to support teachers? We do try to do at least 2 class visits or 2 school visits per year. It's a little bit tough sometimes to see every single teacher because of scheduling conflicts. But we do try to make at least 2 school visits to kind of give teachers feedback and see what's going on, and then use that information, especially when shaping the professional development afterwards. So thank you for your question. So application timeline. So this is the Tuesday, February 7th application webinar. Just to let you know again that this is being recorded. So if you need to revisit for any information, you can just use the same link, and I'll be sending out an email tomorrow that has the link on it. Just know that once it does end, it takes a little while for YouTube to process it and post the video. So completed SEPjr applications are due by March 10th at 5 p.m. We will have our final decision sent to all schools by April 7th. And then our first mandatory meeting will be June 17th for all the selected schools.
Okay, we don't want that.
And then, as I said before, our Summer Institute is August 14th to the 18th. And then the launch of SEPjr in selected schools is September 2017 we don't have the Saturdays confirmed yet, but we hope to have them out prior to the application due date. But it will be one Saturday per month starting in September. If anyone has any questions, they can email programs@strongschools.nyc. You can also visit csforall.nyc for additional information or opportunities around computer science. And also, like I said, I'll be emailing everybody a link to the presentation tomorrow, and feel free to just respond to that email with any additional questions that you might have. So I'm gonna just give a few minutes for anyone has any questions on the live chat and see if I can answer them for you. Shelly's saying that the slides are blurry. That might be an internet connection. Sometimes when there's slow internet connection on my side or the receiving side, the slides can get a little blurry with the live streaming. Is there something specific that you couldn't see clearly that you would like me to either respond to or type? That's a good question. We're trying to figure out right now what the actual participation of the cohort 1 schools will be with cohort 2. I think school visits to cohort 1 schools is a good idea, and that's something that we can definitely consider when reaching out to cohort 1 schools and seeing what they would like to do. But as of right now, we don't have anything scheduled for specific school visits for cohort 2 schools to visit cohort 1. One of the things that we do with the SEP, which is the middle school high school program, they're currently in their 4th year. And I know that, so they just, because they're structured a little bit differently, they just finished their 3-year pilot. And so the second cohort started this year, and during PD, some of the cohort 1s do participate, and then also through communication boards and discussion boards, they try to support one another. So I put the application timeline back up if you can see it. If not, this is also available on csforall.nyc under the program SEPjr. This whole timetable is available there too. Are there any other questions? If so, just go ahead and post them here on YouTube chat, live chat. Okay, so Eileen Buckley has a question. So a few questions. So approximately how many units are there per grade? So the way that it's structured right now is that all teachers are teaching the same number of units. So the school year starts off with a mini unit, which is about 2.5 weeks long, where they introduce computer science to their students, and get the students excited, and a little bit of understanding around what they're going to be learning throughout the year. And we did this through 2 texts, the Hello Ruby book, and then Secret Coders. And it was just kind of like a read aloud, and then some very non-specific unplugged activities, things that aren't dedicated to a specific curriculum. So I'm not, is there a shared component? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So if you can just clarify that a little bit, but I'll try to answer what I think it might mean. We're not expecting schools to submit anything at this time that they then share out to other schools, although we do welcome schools to share any best practices, especially during the Saturday PDs, where they talk about their experience using a particular platform or device, and explain how to better use it. So something that came up this past Saturday during our PD was how to manage iPads. And so some of our teachers using mobile device management systems, shared their experience. And then some teachers shared their experience using Scratch with digital storytelling, or Scratch Junior. So and just to clarify, and so to address like the sharing final products to the units, each of the units do have, so the project-based learning one, We'll definitely have is currently having a specific end of the unit project, which will be a digital story, whether through Scratch Junior or Scratch, based on the grade level and the student's abilities. They will not necessarily have to share that out to other schools or directly to us, but there is an expectation that that is completed. The Dash and Dot robot unit was built around a series of challenges, and when teachers do finish particular units, we ask again that they do share, but there's no requirement to share with us. And then that's also the benefit of doing school visits, is to see some of the work done in the classrooms. And then just your last question, are usernames provided and or shared for programs like Scratch? So the two online applications that we do use, the code.org Studio and Scratch, teacher accounts are free, and that's part of our professional development, is to demonstrate how teachers sign up and then create classroom accounts, or create classrooms and then create student accounts, and then make those, how to distribute those particular student accounts. Scratch has also recently added a teacher account, so teachers can now create classrooms and studios and student accounts, and then have students log in using those specific things. So, as the programs mature and as the different resources change, we will, address those things in professional development. So, like, one of the things with Scratch Junior is that we're looking to see if they can add either a student login or sharing folders. And so those are some of the things that we do address. So those are some great questions. If anybody else has a question, I'll wait one more second. And again, if not, please feel free to email programs@strongschool.nyc, or you can email me in a response. So, okay. Yeah, the feature for Scratch of creating student accounts directly in Scratch by the teacher is a really great improvement. And also, we hope to get that in Scratch Junior too. At least some way to organize the particular projects, especially if students are sharing devices. Okay, great. Well, it's been over a half hour. So again, if anyone has any questions, please email us. We look forward to looking through these applications. We're always excited to see, learn about all the schools in New York City. There's so many, and we get introduced to so many great schools through this program. And I wish everybody luck, and have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful midwinter break. All right. Thank you.